Like I said, it's Glicket time, where people go see Wicked and Gladiator 2. So now we're going to be talking about Gladiator 2, which I did see after Wicked. And Gladiator 2 was also really, really good. I know I saw a lot of people saying this is more of the boys' version of the week and Wicked was the girls, but either way, I saw both of them, and I will say, I think I liked Wicked a little bit more, but just by a little, and I'll explain more why. So yeah, before watching Gladiator 2, I had to go see Gladiator 1 because I also never saw that because they never showed that in my middle school like everyone else apparently did, or high school. I don't know how some people were allowed to watch certain films when they were young, but hey, I caught up and I knew the story and I was really excited for the second one. I thought it looked really cool. I thought that it seemed like everyone was going to have a good time performing, and that's honestly what I got from this film after watching it. I have one big complaint, and that was the Denzel Washington kissing scene. It was cut from this movie. How dare they take that away from us? I'm obviously kidding. I don't really give a shit. If it's not important to the plot, then it doesn't really matter. But I know a lot of people on Twitter were being like, oh, wow, this movie's woke. And it's like, oh, they have men kissing. And it's like, brother, do you not know when this movie takes place? Half the people in this film are probably bisexual. Hell, the main antagonists of this film are bisexual because they got like half-naked men, like, you know, with them at all times. It's like, this is what happened. So besides talking about stupid people on Twitter, this movie was actually really good. I think the acting in this film was also just really great. You know, running theme with Wicked. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But yeah, acting was done really great. Denzel Washington absolutely killed it in his role, and I really just love watching this man act. I don't know what it is. He just does it so good. And my God, did he do a great job in this movie. Pedro Pascal also did an amazing job. Also, just really, really great performance. I almost wish we got a little bit more of Pedro Pascal, but he's not really the main character. Paul Mescal, I believe it's pronounced, who plays Lucius, he does an absolutely great job. And yeah, everyone just did a really good job. I didn't really think anyone didn't really underperform as well. The action was just really good. It starts out with this war scene where this country being invaded by the Roman army, but there's just a lot of good scenes here. Set design also did a really good job, especially during the Gladiator like fighting tournament scenes. I'm pretty sure a lot of those were CGI, of course, because it'd be insane if they did that, but just the presentation of it all was just really cool. It really feels like the original Gladiator, just on steroids, and I feel like to some people that's just not really that great and it's more of a complaint. I'll get into those when I get to them. There were some moments where the writing was kind of goofy, kind of, you know, drawn out with some scenes. I really followed along with this film. I can understand if some people got a little confused, but I don't know, because I heard some people talking about that. There was this moment where, like, the main character was about to fight someone. He's like, let's not put on a performance, or let's not die for their entertainment. And he's speaking clear English, and, like, he gets asked, do you speak my language? And it's like, did you not just hear what I said? That's really it, really. I know this movie isn't really, you know, they didn't really speak English, you know, like they are. But again, this is a film. We need to understand it. Cinematography, I thought, did a really good job. There was just a lot of cool angles and a lot of cool moments where the camera really showed off like these like very intense moments. I don't know why, but there's a scene where like everyone is just looking at a standstill, and like there's this moment where like Denzel is just waving or like moving his eyes from left to right, and I don't know why, just that scene alone is just moments like that. It's so cool where like people are just anticipating something. I don't know what it is. It's just really cool. What I said probably didn't make any sense at all, but trust me, this movie did a really good job with its camera work. The CGI and editing in this film also did a really good job. You know, this film has a lot of like weird little like not monsters, but like creatures that are like not normal. Like at the beginning, the main slaved or captured enemies had to fight these like monkeys, and like they looked at very scary and very creepy, and they didn't look fake at all. Like they actually looked really good. Like Ridley Scott did a really good job with like making these look actually scary, and like a lot of the times it doesn't do that thing where movies just make it look obviously, oh, that's CGI, it wasn't blurry, it wasn't nothing. Like you could see the detail in these creatures. It's so good. The music is another thing that I didn't really, you know, vibe with. This movie really reminded me of 300. I was going to mention this in its editing part, but this and the music was like, I wonder if they got inspiration from 300. And it's kind of insane, making that comparison, but I just couldn't help but think about that. The music was kind of good at times, but again, it just reminded me of 300, and I don't know if that's what they were going for. Like the way they slowed down certain scenes and how the music was playing a certain way, or like the types of music they had. I could be completely wrong, and maybe the music is completely different. Either way, that's just how I felt. I know a lot of people, I thought I heard a lot of people talking about there's being a Gladiator 3. I don't really know. Who knows? The story is kind of open-ended, and we'll really get to that when I talk more about the story. But either way, I thought it really did good on a lot of parts. Very small complaints here and there, but nothing that just tanks this movie completely. I just thought it was a really good film, and honestly, I really recommend everyone go watch it, because it is also just a really good film. So yeah, the story. So I mentioned it earlier. This film it's kind of like Gladiator 1, but more grand and more crazy as far as its structure of the story goes. I don't know if that's really a good thing or a bad thing. It takes place 16 years after the events of the first Gladiator, where the Roman army is now owned by these twins, and but they're controlled by these twins who took over. And, the original actor, spoiler alert, the main character from the first Gladiator movie died, but he had like a bastard son who had to like run away and live on this other island, which we eventually got to see. And he's, a new person named Hanno who lives on this island in a North African area, they said. They then get raided by Roman army, and, they put up a really good fight. Hanno and his wife, or I believe it's Hanno, I'm not too sure, but I'm just going to say Hanno. He really puts up a good fight, and but his wife, unfortunately, she also put up a good fight, but she dies in this battle. And there's this cool scene where we get to see like the main character getting really hurt, and he's like on the brink of dying as well, but he has a lot left to do, so he mourns his wife, but he gets sold into slavery, and now he has to fight as a gladiator for the entertainment of Rome. Cassius, played by Pedro Pascal, returns as like, hey, we did it, we got this land just like you wanted, can we chill out on invading? And they're like, no, we want more, we want you to invade even more lands. And he's like, can we at least have a gladiator tournament like we did 16 years ago? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm simplifying it so much, but that's essentially what happens. They announce the gladiatorial games, to honor the victory and all this, and we eventually get to see Connie Nielsen reprise her role as Lucia, who is now his wife to Marcus, or Cassius, but for now I'm just gonna call him Marcus. That's Pedro Pascal's character. His name's Marcus for now. We get to also see that Hanno Lucius is captured, and he gets to still live if he can just put on a show. So he trains a little bit, and he puts on a little show where he fights with some other people and fights these monkeys, and this gets the attention of Macrinus, who gets them into the big boy games where he gets to impress the Empire, or the twin rulers, really. Eventually, Lucius is given the opportunity where it's like, hey, you keep fighting, you keep getting money, and everyone's happy. He even tells him like, hey, if you even keep this up, you can even kill Marcus, the guy who took over your island. Eventually, Lucius, rises up in the ranks. He gets buffer and buffer. He starts to look like his father more and more, and this even gets the attention of his mom, who's like, wait a sec, I've seen that stance before where he stabs the dirt, and he's like, wait a minute, is that my son? And she confronts him and is like, oh my god, you are my son, how are you doing? And he's like, bro, you have not seen me in so long. And he kind of disowns her because, in a sense, she's kind of responsible for doing all of this, but she really did it to protect him because he was eventually hunted for being related to anything involving Maximus, and also because he's technically heir to the throne. It's like, hey, you got to live the life you wanted, you had food and everything. I had to struggle on my own. I didn't have any friends. I had to keep running. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't really like you, mom, so please go away, and I'll keep fighting. Throughout, all the fights, Lucius gets to befriend this guy named Ravi, who's kind of like a doctor who treats them, make sure they're all okay, and they get to bond and talk about stories about the gladiator pit or the arena and how he bought his own freedom by fighting and now just treats people. He then talks about Maximus's armor, and he doesn't really take advantage of that just yet. There's also this underlining plot where a bunch of the senators of Rome are conspiring to, kill the leaders, so this is all happening all discreetly and no one is really supposed to know this. But Macrinus is aware of this coup, and because of him also trying to gain power in Rome, and this will come back important, he eventually spills the beans and kind of, tells the two rulers about this whole plot about how, Marcus and Lucia are trying to kill them. It's really, evil what he does to get power, and this is just really paired with Denzel Washington's amazing acting. He's just really one cold son of a bitch who just wants money and power. He even says it. He wants more power. I just love this guy. Like, oh my god, what an amazing actor. Holy shit. So that happens. The plan gets spoiled. They eventually get found out that they were planning to take over, and as punishment, Marcus is sent to the Gladiator pit, where he has to eventually fight Lucius in a 1v1, but Lucius doesn't want to do this because he's like, oh my god, you're kind of like my stepdad and you've been banging my mom, and I don't really want to do this is not honorable. But the two rulers like, nope, I'm not having this, and he sentenced him to die, and he has his guards fire so many fucking arrows at him and he fucking dies. Like, Marcus Pedro Pascal character just dies. It's actually insane. I didn't really think this would happen, but I kind of did, because it's just bound to happen. Like, he was going to get mad at the two rulers. Then a riot happens, just like modern day. Anytime something fucked up happens, a riot happens, and Marcinus is like, hey, you knew this was going to happen, to the two rulers. Like, you really should have just not done that. There's also this moment where Lucia is also being, imprisoned, and we get to learn that Marcinus was also a slave, and he wanted to get revenge on Rome by becoming its ruler. And this is how he's doing it, by sneaking his way into power and just getting revenge on people who wronged him, including Lucia, because he was once a slave. Then he goes and manipulates the two kings and is like, damn, this shit's crazy. You guys need to control this rider. They're gonna come after your monkey, because one of them has a monkey and it's really adorable. And eventually he gets the two brothers arguing and fighting and kills one of them. Etta is the one who dies, who's like the taller one, who's kind of the main guy who's in charge of things. He's the big problem, so he gets killed. Just the way he does this is so good. He manipulates the younger, the less powerful twin brother to help get him killed. A lot is really happening, but that's the best way I can really explain it. So yeah, it's the next day. There's technically a new ruler, but it's really just the other twin who's in charge, who wants to just make things right. And Macrinus takes this opportunity to just get even more power. And he gives that speech. He's now more in charge of the Senate because he helped the other brother, and he's been like, hey, I'm on your side, trust me, bro, I'm definitely not gonna stab you in the back. But in fact, he has a new plan. He wants to put Lucius in the Gladiator, and he wants another uprising to happen so where he can sneak in and get the kill. And yeah, spoiler alert, this does happen, because Lucius has a secret plan where he wants to unite with another army that was led by Marcus's loyalist, who was like definitely loyal to him and him only. He wanted to get this ring because he got a ring from his mom. Hey, he's like, hey, take this ring, Ravi, the medic. Take this ring to this army. Tell them about this plan. Meet me, and we're going to take over Rome. So this all happens, and he overthrows the security, or the prison guards, and everyone kills them and takes over the Gladiator pit. And there's supposed to be this event where only one gladiator is supposed to defend Lucia, because she's supposed to be sentenced to death. And eventually this does not work, because all the gladiators come and help defend her, and it's just so much craziness has happened. Even the senates are all there, and they're all sentenced to death as well. I don't think they were sentenced to death, but they were just there in the crossfire. So much is happening, and yeah, Macrinus uses this opportunity to just kill the other twin, Carcelia, I believe. I don't really know. He's dead. I don't know about the monkey. I hope he's okay. And as this was also happening, Macrinus takes an arrow and tries to kill Lucia, and well, he didn't really try. He does kill her, and it's just getting crazier and crazier at this point. So now Lucius is like, holy shit, you killed my mom, and he chases after Macrinus. And there's this chase scene where he gets on a horse, where they both get on a horse, and the army that was supposed to come from Ravi meets with the Roman Empire outside, and there's this crazy fight scene and it's a crazy 1v1, and it's just so much is happening. I'm freaking glued to the fucking screen. I had to button up, it's cold. And this amazing fight scene between the two characters are just really done well, and as you probably know, I mean, I don't know how accurate this is to history, but Lucius wins, and he is now theoretically the new ruler of Rome, and he goes back to the gladiator pit or the arena and, you know, reminisces about his wife. He's ready to say goodbye to her because he's finally done, but it doesn't really seem like he's done, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the whole, like, open ending. Ends the same way the first film ends, where he's, like, walking through a field of grain or corn or whatever, and, yeah, the movie just ends. Lucius has restored Rome back to its, you know, rightful place. The two twin rulers are both dead. Macrinus, who was plotting against them, is dead, and unfortunately his mother and stepdad is also dead. A lot of people died, and, yeah. That's what happens in Rome. This movie absolutely got buck wild at the end with all the events happening. It's definitely a really good movie. I really recommend this film, especially to people who enjoyed the first Gladiator. There is some issues here and there, but honestly, it didn't really take away much from my overall score. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10, just like I gave Wicked. I think both of these films were absolutely fantastic. Gladiator 2 had way more things to complain about, more than Wicked, but either way, these movies are completely different, so, you know, don't compare them too much. Go see both of them, please. These are both really good films, and a lot of hard work was probably done into them. But yeah, that was Gladiator 2. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments. Talk about it. Talk about something. I'm bored. I'm lonely. What other films do you want me to watch? Because I plan on reviewing a lot more films throughout December, because I got a lot of films to finish up, because I want to make a list of, like, the best movies, the worst movies, and all that. So that's what I'm planning. But yeah, everyone, you all have a good, warm holiday, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.